Hello. Thank you for tuning in today. So if you got this video or you are watching this video, it's because you have expressed some sort of interest in real estate, wanting to know more about me, wanting to know more about real estate. For any of the reasons that you are here, I am excited to share with you today more about real estate, more about my journey, and using my journey as the example to help you really understand what real estate's all about. If you are considering a career in real estate, to really know like the inner workings of it and to start to just understand how everything works. I will start by saying that I want you to keep an open mind. The story that I am sharing is my story. There are, I don't know, maybe over 3,000 agents in the Greater Rochester Association of Realtors right now. There are so many different real estate agents. I would encourage you to also talk to other agents to learn their stories, so that you're really feeling like you're getting all of the information and you're seeing that full picture. So to start, my story. So you may know me, you may not, but I got into real estate at 22. And at 22 years old, getting into a business where you have absolutely no idea what real estate is. I didn't even know, I didn't own a house, let alone was it even on my radar. I had just moved out of my parents and into an apartment downtown Rochester. So I really didn't know much about it. But right out of college, so I was an athlete in college, which meant that that discipline, that intentionality, that time focused, that results oriented achievement person is like ingrained in my soul. But after I got out of real estate, I started working at the Rochester Athletic Club. And the Rochester Athletic Club was an amazing, amazing opportunity for me that helped me learn a lot about sales, about leading with service, about scripts to help communicate with people, conversion rates. There was so much. And I was always told, oh, you'd be amazing in real estate, Mandy. You'd be amazing in real estate. And guys, I didn't know what real estate was. So I was like, okay, yeah, sure. Okay, yeah, sure. And then finally I remember there was a wonderful agent who was on the chest press. She's like, man, you got to get into real estate. And I was like, you know what? I'm really feeling like I want to do something different, make that shift. And that's what encouraged me to take the leap. And it was a complete leap. I wish I've even had myself talking to know what I was getting into. Or guys, maybe I don't wish it, maybe I didn't. It was good that I didn't know. But I digress. The reason why you might be here is because maybe you've had someone too that has spoken life into you saying you'd be great at real estate. And what that means is you can talk to a wall, or that means you have a servant heart, or that means you're great at education, or that means you love houses. Whatever it is, that's awesome. To be told that you would make a great real estate agent truly is a compliment. So how do you get started in this business? Well, first, there's a 75-hour course that you can take. I believe I am recording this in early 2020, which means it is COVID season. So check back to see what the latest is, but I believe all courses are online at this time. And it is a 75-hour course. And the in-person one, I think, is like 2 weeks, and the other ones that are online, you can take them as you go. At the end of those courses that are online or in person, you have to take an class exam. If you are online, you have to take a class exam for the online class, but then you also need to take a class locally. The local board is Greater Rochester Association of Realtors. So you take the online class and then a test then, and then you go to your local board to take a test there. Now, if you're not in Rochester, that is not your local board, but depending where you're watching this from, and you take that exam. Then you take a New York State exam as well. And that New York State exam, some people have found a little tricky because sometimes it talks a lot about like New York City and some of the terms there that we're not familiar with. However, there is a book that is something about how to pass your real estate exam that we have a lot of people that really love, and that their practice tests and all of that. But the question that I get all the time is, how can I best prepare myself? What does the test mean? How do I know what course to take? There isn't a bad online course that I've heard of. Make sure that that online course is one that is approved through your board. So if you do want to cross-check that, there are sometimes Groupons for the real estate course. So keep your eyes peeled for those. But the key with this course, and I always say it, It doesn't really teach you how to be a real estate agent, guys. It does not. It teaches you how to not be illegal. And what I mean by that is it teaches you how to not discriminate. It teaches you those kind of things. And yes, it does teach some bigger picture things, but don't put so much pressure on yourself with this course because this doesn't determine if you're going to be a successful realtor or not. I will say, if you're taking the online course, I had someone who said they didn't know if they were disciplined enough to take the online course. If you're not disciplined to take the online course, you're probably not going to spend the time that you probably will need in the real estate world. So just keep that in mind, that it could be a good test to see if that's the direction you want to go. So once you take this online course, and the timing sometimes is unique, but you take the course and then you connect with a brokerage. You decide which brokerage you would like to hold your license. So for example, there's brokerages like Keller Williams, Howard Hanna, Remax. Is Hunt still? Those are the brokerages, okay? Or I'm sorry. Yes, those are the brokerages. They all fall under the umbrella of the Greater Rochester Association of Realtors, or your board. And then above that is NYSAR, New York State Association of Realtors. So if you can kind of see how these go, you need to pick a brokerage that is where you can hold your license. So whether you are farther into your exam, maybe sometimes people reach out to brokerages before they even take the exam. Feel free to do that, but the key is make sure that you interview brokerages. Now, I did not interview brokerages. I started and I was deciding if I should say all the brokerages names, but it's my story. I'm just going to say them so it's not too vague or confusing. But I started at Nothnagel, now Howard Hanna, and I went in, fell in love with the office, fell in love with the manager, and that felt like the right fit for me. Knowing what I know now, I think that was still the perfect fit for me at that time, but I wished I would have known what else was out there and interviewed to really make sure that it was that right fit. Because when the time came where I was starting to think outside the box, I kind of felt like I didn't even know there was all these options, and I was kind of overwhelmed that if I would have just been really educated in the very beginning, all of that would have been a little bit less stressful. So I encourage you, interview brokerages. That is completely normal and 100% will benefit you. How do you interview brokerages? You call them on up, and there are typically office numbers where you can say, I'm considering getting my real estate license and I would like to learn more. That person, that brokerage may offer a seminar that may be online, it may be in person. They may offer for you to come to tour their office. They may have a different connection. They may have a brochure or a handout, but you reach out to them and you ask to see what that would look like, what the steps are, what they offer, and learn more about brokerages. They may say, come back once you are 50% of the way through your exam. Come back once you've passed your exam. What you do typically like to do is when you take that New York State exam, that is when you can then host your broker. Talk to your broker and they will host your license. So I like to have that decision made by the time you're taking that New York State exam. If you don't, is it the end of the world? Heck no. But just so you kind of get that process and that timing. When I first met with the brokerage, I didn't even know what was important. And one of the things that I think is going to be really helpful for you, and I actually believe we have like 100 questions to ask your brokerage somewhere, but I have just a few that I can share with you. And if you would like, I can definitely get you that 100 questions as well. But when you are meeting with these brokerages, I remember walking in and being like, hi, what do I do? Like I had no idea what to do. And so I want to prepare you today just so you have a little bit more of an insight of what it means and why brokerages are different and how they're different. You can ask, tell me about your office and what's the culture like? Do you have outings? How's the camaraderie? What is the average number of sales that an agent that has recently joined sold since they've joined? Or what is the average number of sales that the last 10 agents that have been here for 1 year sold? You can really, don't be afraid to ask those questions. They might answer it, they might not. I know a lot of companies and a lot of people don't want to share too much to say, well, this person did that, because then that becomes your goal, as opposed to the fact you might be capable of so much more, and they don't want to limit you too. So they may answer, they may not. Never hesitate to ask the question. ask them, well, what does your training look like? They may say, well, we have 3 months where you can attend every single day and we do this, that, and the next. Or they may say, well, we have these classes. If you are part-time, I'll talk a little bit more about that, but you may want to keep your, okay, I don't like the word part-time. Forget I said part-time. What we like to call it is dual career agents, because there's no such thing as part-time in real estate. Yes, you aren't spending your entire life on it. You are having a dual focus, if you will, but real estate is full-time. You are checking, if you are having your other job, you are checking it at lunch, you are checking your phone on your breaks, you're still in it. So if there's someone that is dual career, asking what times are trainings offered, what time is mentorship offered, those kind of things, so that you can really understand if this is going to be the right fit for you. Speaking of mentorship, the difference between training is a class that you attend. A mentorship is I'm representing a buyer and I need someone to come alongside me. They're helping me write the offer. They're helping me do my market analysis to figure out how to negotiate. That's the difference in mentorship. What does that look like? When you have mentorship or when you have training, it may impact commission. So make sure you're asking, what is the commission structure? Is there ever a time the commission increases or decreases based on training, based on mentorship, based on how much I produce? What does that look like? Don't be afraid to ask those questions so that you can really start to compare different brokerages. What are the monthly dues? What's provided within the monthly dues? What are fees associated with marketing? Maybe you have something like printing, or maybe you want to send postcards. Does the office support that in any way? Do they provide an intranet with design templates or marketing support? You can ask those questions. Ask questions of, besides board dues, are there any other dues that I need to know about? When I come into the office, where will I sit? When I come into the office, do I have the opportunity to use an office, to use a conference room? If I want to bring a client in, will I be able to use the conference room? All of those questions, that's just a few of them, but to start, get your juices flowing as to why a brokerage is important. So that's kind of the logistics of it. And the one thing that I want to chat on to is my story, right? So you take your test, you get your license, you find a brokerage that works well with you. And when you decide what works well for you, make sure that you're spending some time reflecting on what is important to you. We have some people that are coming to say, listen, I need a shift in my life. We have people who come from corporate and they're like, anything but someone telling me what to do and when to be there. We have some people who are a stay-at-home parent who's looking for just something to be doing that can kind of get their juices flowing, that can get them out of the house. Whatever you are, wherever you are in the spectrum, identify what is important to you so that you can decide which brokerage is going to match up. There is not a one size fit all. There is not a brokerage that is the absolute best that's going to fit everybody. There's a reason for different brokerages because they all offer something different. I, of course, can speak to Keller Williams. If there's any questions about that, but at the same time, I'm not saying interview at my company, this is the best one. I am encouraging you to really make sure it is the best decision for you, because I know how important that is to set you up and to feel confident in those, especially that first year of your business. So I have a lot of people when they want to know my story, and I hesitate sometimes sharing my story because I want you to remember that I'm 22. I was 22. I'm 32 right now, but I was 22 when I started, and that's what this story is. And not only was I 22, but so that meant that I was young in terms of people trusting me. So my lead gen, I was challenged with my lead gen, but it was a challenge in terms of my business experience. Like, yes, I had worked at that gym that I shared with you. So I had scripting and conversion rates, and I understood business a little bit more. I minored in business administration, which was pretty cool, and realized that was actually helpful for me. But my first year, I got licensed in October, and I didn't make my first sale until March. And between October and March, I was in the office every single day from 9 to 5, doing whatever I possibly could. And the key that I want to get, and the point that I want to get across to you is when you're first starting that first year, your job, you have so much to learn. The time that I spent attending education events, just trying to understand what is real estate. Like, guys, I didn't know what forced air was. I was like, why is that forced? Like, it was so It was a lot about education. And that first time period when you are spending those hours, it's not just, oh, I'm going to get a client, I'm going to find clients, I'm going to lead generate for a client, I'm going to secure that client, support them, represent them, and get paid. There is so much to learn, and that is a big investment of your time. So that first sale was in March. And so I didn't get paid until after that. And you're like, well, Mandy, how does that work? Like, what does that mean for finances? If you don't sell a house, you do not get paid. So I had money that I had saved up that I had rationed the entire time. You could say, Mandy, that just like won't work for me. Well, I had a side job. Not really, but I attempted to. I coached lacrosse. I did trainings. I coached a local college team. I did the assistant coaching, and it was just a couple grand, but it got me by, and it got me by. So that is not something that I say, don't do it. The key is that you are doing it with the intent that you will have another month that you can do by yourself, another month and another month. There are people, I know an agent that their first year they sold 50 million in real estate. He's in Arkansas. And so people say, well, what's the average? What can you expect? The first year, like I said, for me, I sold October to September, I sold 2.5 million in real estate. Okay. I got rookie of the year. It was awesome. I was working crazy hours, but that based on commission structure and all of that, that brought me to under 20 grand in what I made. And you might say, that's great. And you might say, that's awesome. That was the reality for me, that I made less and I worked double. But I loved it, guys. You have to understand, I loved it. I loved the hustle of it. I loved the grind of it. I wasn't looking to not work. I wasn't making up excuses like, oh, I can't go to that networking event. I went to 2 networking events every week, 2 education classes a week. And then I did a video blog, and I hosted 2 open houses a week. So that was like my lead generation, my education, and my marketing, where I was trying to create some structure around that. I loved it. If you are coming with more experience, if you are coming with more connections, I want you to bust the ceilings off of everything that I'm saying too, but just so you kind of know my path. So if you're on this path right now too, and you're like feeling a little disheartened, to know that there's so much opportunity in investing these first few months, these first few years, however long it takes you to, it is worth that investment. Now, the following year, I believe that I did around 4 million in sales, and 4 million in sales, I think put me at around 40 grand. And then that next year, I think I broke 6 figures. Maybe it was like the next January to December that I broke 6 figures. And that's huge, guys. That is huge. But that also was when people started to see me as a real live adult. And what I mean by that is finally they had seen me enough to say, oh, that's not that cute little 12-year-old lacrosse player. That's actually a business person. And you have to understand, 2 open houses, 2 networking events, 2 education classes, videos, everything that I possibly could do, I was working my tail off. And again, I don't want you to be thinking that my story has to be your story. But when it comes to commission breakdown, when it comes to education dues, when it comes to expenses, like paying for signs, paying for lock boxes, paying for your business cards, this is a business, and it's a beautiful business that has beautiful opportunity, that I want you to see that when you are taking this course, when you are checking with your brokerage, when you are identifying where you want to hold your license, when you are setting your own expectations, find a company that aligns with how you want to run your business, how you want to run your life. Talk with other agents that are doing what you want to be doing. I will also say, our job is to make this look easy as pie, right? Like that's my job. I do a good job if my clients see this as that everything was smooth, everything was great. Well, a lot of times everything's good. I'm battling inspection, battling appraisal, figuring that out. Oh my goodness, what happened with the septic? I've got it. It is under control. Like that's how we want it to work. So if you are seeing an agent that everything looks easy, everything looks simple, have them open up their heart to you in the way that I hope that you're feeling. I'm opening up my heart to you to be able to say, it is hard and it is awesome and it is so worth it. And real estate has afforded so many people on my team and in my world this beautiful opportunity for a beautiful life, that there's also a lot of intricacies and some unknowns about business that I would encourage you, that if this is something that's kind of perking your interest and something that you want to learn more about, get in the education phase and start learning. Attend career seminars at different brokerages, ask more questions, reach out to agents, just like you probably did for me, that you're doing with other people, just to learn more about what the real estate industry looks like for them. You can ask questions like, well, what does an average agent make? And what is all of that? You can ask them till you're blue in the face, but only you know what you're capable of. There's been people who said an average agent makes, 4 million around there. And you can look over the 3,500 agents, you can, those are facts. You can pull all those out. You can pull out rankings of what most people do. It's all in the MLS. But that person who sold averages 4 million ends up selling 10 million. And I don't want you to be limited. And that might be a reason why you want to get into real estate in the first place, is because you don't want to be limited. So when you are asking these questions, keep an open mind, have faith in yourself that you are not average, and also have faith in yourself that if you want to be dual career, that you're talking to other people that are dual career, and what that transition looks like. If some people are dual career and want to be that forever, some are dual career and just do it, and it's a perfect bonus and add-on to their lives. So whatever it is and whatever path you want to be taking, listening to this conversation today and continuing to do that is going to help point you in the right direction. If you ever have more questions or more conversations, I have tons of resources that I can help to support you in this journey, and never hesitate to reach out for however we can help more.